So I want you to picture something pretty graphic for a second.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And I am warning you right now, this is not a pretty image, but it is something Marcus Aurelius just throws right in your face in the text we are looking at today.
He really doesn't hold back, does he?
No, he doesn't. So imagine a pig.
Ah,
It is being held down, its throat is being cut, and it is just losing its mind. It is kicking, screaming, flinging itself around in a total panic.
it is a really brutal, noisy scene.
Visceral.
Very visceral. And the whole reason he brings up this squealing, dying pig is to ask you a deeply uncomfortable question.
Are you that pig?
Right. Are you the pig? Because when life gets hard, when the knife of bad luck comes down, are you just squealing and fighting against the inevitable? Or are you, something else entirely?
That is the big question.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are tackling Book 10 of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And let me tell you, if you thought this was just going to be a nice list of inspirational quotes for a coffee mug, you are in for a bit of a shock. Yeah, absolutely. Book 10 is not light reading. It is a rigorous, almost military manual for the soul.
It really feels like a boot camp.
It is. It feels like the culmination of his whole philosophy. He stops just reflecting and really starts drilling down into the mechanics of reality, specifically the relationship between the individual, which he calls the part, and the universe, which is the whole.
Moving from that resistance, like the pig, to total cooperation.
Exactly. He wants to figure out how we actually cooperate with reality instead of just fighting it all the time.
And it feels like he is trying to train his own brain in real time. Like he actually compares the reader to a gladiator in the arena, covered in blood and wounds, begging to be saved today, just to be thrown back to the wild beast tomorrow.
It is a bleak image. But he does offer a way out of the arena. He promises that if you can follow these mental disciplines, you can literally transport yourself to the islands of the blessed, right here and now.
Even if you are standing knee-deep in mud.
Right. Within your own mind, you can find paradise.
I mean, I love that promise. But let's be real, that is a huge order. So where does he even start? What is the foundation we are building on here in Book 10?
Well, he starts with the biggest question you could possibly ask, the nature of reality itself. In Section 6, he sets up this binary choice.
Okay, what are the options?
He says either we have to imagine that random atoms are the cause of all things, or we have to grant that there is a governing nature.
Wait, hold on. Atoms or nature? To a modern ear, that sounds like a false dichotomy, because atoms just sounds like regular science. Is he saying we have to choose between science and, like, magic?
Not exactly. He is talking about intent versus accident. The atoms theory, which he associates with Epicurus, represents total chaos, a universe that is just random particles crashing into each other.
So everything is just an accident, meaningless.
Right. And the other option, nature, is a universe that is an ordered, governed system, a whole that has a specific logic to it.
Okay, so it is chaos versus order.
Precisely. And Marcus stands firmly on the side of order, of nature. He says your first ground rule has to be accepting that you are a part of a universe governed by nature.
And if we accept that, what does that actually mean for you and me? Like on a Tuesday morning when you spill coffee all over your shirt or you lose your job.
It changes your entire perspective. Because if you are a part of a governed whole, then you are kin to all the other parts. And Marcus argues that if you remember this connection, you can never actually be displeased with anything that happens to you.
Never displeased. Ever. I mean, if I break my leg, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be displeased.
Marcus would argue that's only because you have forgotten your connection to the whole. His logic here is pretty ruthless. He says nothing that is beneficial to the whole can be truly hurtful to the part.
I am going to need an example for that one.
Think of it biologically. Imagine you are a single white blood cell inside a human body.
Okay, I am a cell, doing my cell things.
And suddenly the body gets a severe infection. So the body raises its overall temperature to kill the virus. It creates a fever. Now for you, that single little cell, that intense heat, is terrible. It is incredibly uncomfortable. It might even destroy you. But is the fever a bad thing?
No, it is saving the body.
Exactly. It's necessary for the survival of the whole.
So my personal suffering is just, what, the fever that saves the universe?
In a cosmic philosophical sense, yes. Nature does not self-sabotage. If something is happening, the universe has deemed it necessary. And since you are part of that universe, it cannot technically be hurtful to you in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, that is logically sound, sure. But emotionally, that is a really hard pill to swallow. My terrible day is actually good for the universe.
Yes, and this leads right into one of the most beautiful but challenging concepts in the text. You find this in section of Marpidi. It is the idea of amor fati, Loving your fate.
Loving it, not just tolerating it.
Exactly. He quotes a poet who says, "The earth loves the rain, and the glorious sky loves to fall on the earth."
The earth loves the rain. That is a nice poetic thought. But does the earth love a 10-year drought? Does it love a massive forest fire? It is super easy to say you love the rain, but how do you love a catastrophe?
That is where the actual discipline comes in. Marcus is saying the universe loves to make things happen. It has a drive to create change, whether that is a gentle rain or a raging fire.
And what is our job in that?
The Stoic response is to say to the world, "With your affections shall mine concur."
With your affections shall mine concur? So basically what you want, I want.
That is it. You align your personal will completely with the will of the universe. If the universe wants a drought, you accept the drought as necessary. You stop fighting the reality of what already is.
But what if I just refuse? What if I decide, no, this is awful and I hate it and I am going to fight it every step of the way?
Well, then you become the fugitive.
The fugitive. This is from section XXV, right?
Yes. And this is where Marcus gets pretty tough on the reader. He defines a fugitive not as a guy running from a literal prison, but as someone running from the law of nature. He says anyone who is angry, afraid, or sorrowful at what happens is a runaway slave.
Wow. That is harsh. So if I am just sitting in my car, stewing in anger about traffic, I am basically a criminal, a fugitive on the run from my master.
In the eyes of Stoicism, yes, you are. Because the master is the law of reality. Reality is dictating there is traffic, and you are sitting there screaming there should not be traffic.
So I am fleeing the present moment. I am breaking the law of what is.
Exactly. It is all about submission to reality. In section X16, he writes something that sounds almost religious. He addresses nature as the giver and says, "Give what thou wilt, take away what thou wilt."
Just total surrender.
But he clarifies, this is not said with pride or defiance. You do not say it through gritted teeth. You say it in pure love and humble submission.
It really is the exact opposite of the pig squealing at the knife. The pig screams no. The rational citizen nods and says, okay, this is the law.
Exactly.
But you cannot just flip a switch in your brain and become that incredibly calm. That takes a major rewiring.
It requires immense daily discipline, which is a perfect pivot to the second major theme of Book 10, the discipline of the self.
Right, because he opens the entire book with this reflection on what he calls the perfect soul. He says he wants a soul that is good, simple, single, and more open and visible than the body.
Yes, visible is the key word there.
Why visible? What does he mean by that?
He is talking about radical transparency, having no hidden motives, no secret resentments buried down deep. He wants to reach a state where he desires nothing external, no specific time, no specific place, no special favors from anyone.
Just being totally content with right now.
Content with the present state, whatever it is.
And to help us get there, he actually gives us some labels to use. In section 8, he lists these 3 epithets, and I always love a good list.
It is very practical.
Yeah, so if I am that gladiator in the arena, and I am just trying to survive the day, what are the 3 words I need tattooed on my arm?
He says, if you want to save yourself, you must claim these 3 names for yourself. Good, modest, and true.
Good, modest, true. Sounds simple enough. But he originally uses Greek terms for these, and I feel like the English translation might be flattening them out a bit.
Oh, it definitely loses some flavor in translation. For good, he implies the word emphron, which really means intelligent consideration. It is about looking at things clearly without being distracted by your emotions.
Okay, so seeing things as they actually are. And what about modest?
For modest, he uses symphron, which translates more to contented acceptance. It literally means sounding together with nature.
Like playing in a symphony. You are in harmony even with the crash of the cymbals.
Exactly. And the last one, true, links to the word hyperphron. This one is fascinating. Hyper means over or above, and phron means mind. So it translates to a high mind.
High-minded. But see, in English, if you call someone high-minded, it usually means they are arrogant or snobby.
Right, but not here. Think of it visually. Imagine a drone shot. You zoom out way, way above a city. When you are down on the street level, a traffic jam looks like an absolute disaster.
It is the end of the world.
But when you are 5,000 feet up in the air...
It just looks like a tiny line of ants.
Exactly. Hyperphron is the ability to overlook.
Yeah.
It is a mind that overlooks bodily pains, petty pleasures, and superficial honors. It sees them as completely beneath its concern because it has that high vantage point.
So emphron is thinking clearly, symphron is vibrating with nature, and hyperphron is taking the drone shot.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
And Marcus makes it very clear that the stakes for keeping these names are terrifyingly high. This is where we go right back to that gladiator image.
Right.
He says, if you lose these names, if you stop being good, modest, and true, you become like those half-eaten wretches in the amphitheater.
That specific phrase really stuck with me. Half-eaten wretches.
It is intentionally grotesque.
Ugh.
He describes these men covered in fresh wounds, half devoured by wild beasts, and yet they are begging the emperor to save their lives. Why? Just so they can be thrown back into Mungo to suffer the exact same teeth and claws.
That is just such a grim, depressing picture of daily life without any philosophy. Just getting chewed up by the world day after day and begging for one more day is being chewed up.
It is the ultimate cycle of misery.
Mm-hmm.
So Marcus is pleading with himself and with the reader. He says, ship thyself to the islands of the blessed. Reclaim those three virtues. If you do, you can live in paradise, even if you are physically standing in an amphitheater.
But to do that, you have to realize what you actually are. Because there is a part in section 8 where he starts talking about a puppeteer.
Yes. He asks a great question. What pulls the strings?
Right.
It is not your body. He looks at his own hand and says, this is just a tool. It is exactly like a carpenter's axe. An axe is completely useless without the carpenter swinging it. And your body is useless without the inner cause directing it.
He calls that inner cause the rhetoric sometimes, doesn't he? Or the life.
Yes, the hidden conviction within. That is the real you. That is the puppeteer. Everything else is just wooden strings.
Okay, so we have the internal discipline down. We are the high-flying drone. We are the puppeteer pulling the strings. But we do not live in a vacuum. We have to deal with other people. And let's be totally honest, other people are usually the main problem.
Well, Marcus would probably disagree that they are the problem. But he does have a whole lot to say about society in this book.
I have to bring up the spider analogy then. In section X, he absolutely roasts hunters and soldiers. It made me laugh out loud because it feels so unusually petty for him.
Oh, it is scathing. He says, look at a spider. A spider catches a tiny fly and is so incredibly proud of itself. It thinks, I am a mighty hunter.
Yeah.
Then look at a man who catches a hare or a fisherman pulling in a net. And then he says, look at the Roman soldier who captures a Sarmatian, a barbarian from the north.
And he is saying they are all exactly the same thing.
He says, if you actually examine their minds and their opinions, they are all just hunting prey. They're all essentially petty thieves. He is entirely stripping away the glory in the parade of war and conquest and reducing it to a spider catching a fly.
Which is an incredibly wild take for a sitting Roman emperor who literally spent years of his life fighting the Sarmatians. He is basically calling his own life's work spider work if the motive behind it isn't pure.
It really shows his deep commitment to examining his own motives. He does not let anyone off the hook, especially not himself.
So how do we actually deal with these spiders in our daily lives? The annoying people, the people obsessed with glory and money.
Section 4 gives a very clear instruction. Teach them with love. Show them their error gently. But, and this is the real kicker, if you cannot convince them, you have to blame yourself.
Blame myself. That feels deeply unfair. If someone else is being a stubborn idiot, why is that my fault?
Well, it is not your fault that they are wrong, but it is your failure if you cannot reach them.
Yeah.
He says if you couldn't get through, your will and endeavors were wanting. Or, if you prefer, simply blame no one. Just do not blame them.
Man, he really closes every single door where you might want to hide your resentment.
He does.
But what about when someone actually offends you? Like, they properly insult you to your face.
Section XXX offers what we could call the mirror of offense. He says when you are offended by someone's bad behavior, you must immediately turn inward. Ask yourself, what similar fault do I have?
The ultimate check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Exactly. He says, do you also like money? Do you also chase pleasure? Do you also want to be popular? As soon as you realize, oh, wait, I am actually kind of like them, the anger just dies.
Yeah, because you realize they're just being driven by their own ignorance, exactly like you are sometimes.
Right. It kills that superiority complex instantly.
It really does. But speaking of complex relationships, we have to talk about the relieved friends section. We really need to slow down for this one because when I read it, it felt surprisingly dark.
You mean section XXX? Yes, it is perhaps the most human and honestly heartbreaking moment in the entire book.
He's basically imagining his own deathbed, right?
Yes, he is. He says that even for a truly virtuous man, a genuinely good man, there will be people standing around his deathbed secretly thinking, finally, I can relax.
Finally, I can breathe without this pedagogue judging me all the time. That hit me so hard. I mean, he's the emperor. He is trying his absolute best to be a saint, and he knows that the people he loves the most are going to be secretly relieved when he dies, just so they don't have to feel judged by his goodness anymore.
And the amazing thing is, he accepts it. He says, why then should any man desire to continue here any longer? If even your pure love feels like a heavy burden to the people around you, maybe it is just time to go.
Wow.
But here is the ultimate Stoic discipline. He says this painful realization should not make you act any less kind to them. You should still leave them with a smile, not with bitterness.
That is just an impossible standard of conduct. To be warm and kind to people who you know are literally waiting for you to die, it puts all our little petty office grudges into perspective, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and it all stems from his unique view of time. Marcus seems almost obsessed with how painfully short life is in this section.
Obsessed is definitely the right word. He constantly reminds himself of his own smallness, like that beautiful image he uses in section 64 where he quotes Homer, "The leaves in the wind."
Yes, the winds blow upon the trees and their leaves fall upon the ground. He says, men, fame, your critics, they are all just leaves. The spring brings a whole new crop of leaves, but then the wind blows and they all fall.
Our children are leaves. The people clapping for us in the audience are leaves. The people cursing our names on the internet, they're leaves. It makes you realize how utterly silly it is to worry about your legacy.
It is a profound meditation on impermanence. Why get a massive ego about being applauded by a leaf that is going to blow away tomorrow?
And he zooms out even further in section 67. He looks at history. He says, look at the court of Hadrian. Look at the court of Augustus.
It is the same play, just different actors. He looks at these massive historical eras and sees the exact same daily drama. People are marrying, fighting, dying, farming, envying each other. It is the exact same script, just different human beings wearing the costumes. And now they are all smoke and nothing.
Smoke and nothing. There's a part, section Lex, I think, where he describes the entire duration of a human life as the turning on a pestle in a mortar.
I had to pause on that. A pestle?
Think about grinding up spices in a bowl. You put the pestle in, you twist your wrist exactly one time. Grind. That is it. Just that one motion.
That split second of friction.
Yes. That is your entire life in the context of deep time.
See, if we are just smoke and our whole life is just a single twist of a pestle, the nihilist inside me wants to ask, why bother doing anything at all? Why not just lie down on the floor and wait for the wind to blow me away?
Because of the seed. In section X or Y, he lists some specific guys from the past, Satiro, Eutyches, and he asks, where are they now? Nowhere. But this realization is not meant to depress you into doing nothing. It is meant to hyper-focus you.
Focus you how?
Since we have so incredibly little time and it vanishes so fast, we have to pass our little portion of time purely and justly.
So don't waste the pestle turn. If you only get one single twist in the bowl, make it a really good grind.
Precisely. You have to make it count right now. Okay, so we have the deep philosophy down. We understand the universe, the self, and time. But Marcus is also a practical guy. He actually gives us tools. How do we physically handle the giant obstacles life throws at us every day?
He gives us two incredibly powerful metaphors in the final segment. The first one is the fire from section XX2.
I really love this one. It is super visual.
He says a small, weak candle can easily be blown out by an obstacle. If you throw a log on top of a candle, it just goes dark.
Right.
But a great fire, a blazing fire, actually consumes whatever you throw into it. You throw a heavy log at it, it becomes fuel. You throw garbage at it, it just turns into more flame and more light.
So the obstacle does not block the path. It actually fuels the path.
If your mind is a roaring fire, yes, it naturally turns the problem into power. And the second metaphor he uses is the cylinder.
The cylinder versus the stone. This one felt a little physics heavy to me. Can you break that one down?
Sure. Imagine a heavy, square stone block. If you push it and it hits a solid wall, it stops completely. It is just dead weight. Now imagine a cylinder. If a cylinder rolls and hits an obstacle, it does not have to stop. It can roll right around it. It can use its own momentum to just change direction.
It is like judo for the mind.
It really is. He says the rational mind has this special privilege. It can pass through or around every obstacle because it has the power to change its own judgment. If the direct path is blocked, the cylinder finds a new path, it just keeps rolling.
And he urges us to actually pay attention to the invisible powers that make all of this possible. In section 66, he marvels at biology. He says, look at how you eat food. It goes down your throat, and then basically magic happens.
It really is a magic that we take for granted every day. Bread somehow becomes muscle. Water becomes blood. He says we need to train ourselves to see these invisible forces just as clearly as we see physical objects.
It is a call to trust the process, really. Just as your body knows exactly how to turn a turkey sandwich into a bicep without you having to consciously think about it, nature knows how to turn random events into your destiny.
Correct. And we really shouldn't get too distracted while that process is happening. Section 9X warns us against toys and fooleries.
Toys and fooleries. He sounds exactly like a grumpy dad right there. Stop playing with your toys!
He wants us to join action and contemplation. He says, do not just sit around thinking about philosophy all day, because that is just the philosopher hiding in the shepherd's lodge.
Right.
And do not just run around blindly doing things all day either, because then you are just the spider catching flies. You need to find delight in understanding the true nature of things while you are actively doing your duty in the world.
That is the ultimate balance. So, let's wrap this massive topic up. We have gone through the whole, the self, society, time, and the practical tools. How does Marcus bring all of this home at the end?
In the outro of the book, he basically gives the reader an ultimatum. Section XE3 describes 3 choices for how you can live your life.
Just 3.
Just 3. Choice 1, continue as you are. This is living by habit. It is just tolerating your own misery because you are used to it.
Okay, not ideal.
Choice 2, retire. Withdraw entirely from the world to find your peace in isolation.
And choice 3.
Die, which he frames gently as ending your charge, a final release.
It sounds a bit bleak to lay it out like that, but he also
Yeah.
says, be therefore of good comfort. So it seems like whatever you choose, it is a valid path. Just consciously choose one. Don't just drift through life.
But I think the most powerful instruction, the one that really sums up the entire book, is found in section X8. It is a line that I honestly think every person listening to this should tape to their bathroom mirror tomorrow morning.
Oh, which one is that?
Make it not any longer a matter of dispute or discourse, what are the signs and properties of a good man, but really and actually to be such.
Stop arguing about what a good man is and just be one.
Stop reading books about it.
Yeah.
Stop endlessly debating the definitions. Stop posting about your ethics on social media or signaling your virtue to your friends. Just be.
That is the ultimate mic drop from the emperor. It just cuts through all the noise we create.
It simplifies everything instantly.
So that is our mission. We have looked at the pig kicking and squealing, and we know that us every time we complain about the weather or traffic. We have looked at the rational citizen, which is who we are aiming to be. We have looked at the leaves in the wind.
The choice is pretty clear.
It is. You can squeal at the knife, or you can accept that you are part of a whole that knows exactly what it is doing.
And remember, nothing can hurt the citizen that does not hurt the city. You are perfectly safe within the law of nature.
I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We look at this text and see a flawless manual. But what if Marcus wrote these brutal, demanding rules precisely because he was failing at them every single day? What if this isn't the record of a perfect man, but the desperate diary of a struggling one, just trying to get it right before his time ran out? Something to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Book 10. It is heavy stuff, but hopefully it makes your next traffic jam a little easier to handle.
Keep rolling like the cylinder.
We will see you next time.